Welcome back to the Fallbar Baseball Show. First playoff edition of 2025. The MLB regular season ended just a couple hours ago. Playoff field is set. We're going to go through all the wild card matchups. We're going to start in the National League, and I'm going to hand it over to Ryan Fallman.
Yeah. So the Mets were eliminated today in probably the most Mets fashion you could possibly think of. Um, the Mets season ended exactly how it went since the beginning of June. And it's pretty apparent that this team desperately needed a spark, and it was like trying to spark a campfire that just won't light. And it felt that way the whole season. And it was like, they had that really good patch, but there were some guys that went down, and then some of those guys that went down never recovered or came back or were just never their full selves. And then from there, it was like, well, where are you going now? And nobody besides Nolan McLean stepped up. And that is where I could go into it for a long time, but you go back to these games where the Mets lose on one play or they lose because of one little nitpicky thing, and it's like you win these games, you're already in. You
Mhm.
go back to the Indians less than a month ago, and or the Guardians, I should say, and the and like Tyrone Taylor's rounding third when the right fielder's getting the ball, and Tyrone Taylor's got blazing speed. He would have easily been safe, walked it off. That game you win, you're in the playoffs. Same thing. A couple weeks ago, we're playing the Nationals at home, bases loaded, no outs, blew it. Would have walked it off. Both those would have been walk-off wins. Both those would have gotten the spark going, gotten the team life. The team needed life badly and just never got it. And, it is what it is. Me and Kevin also touched on this at the beginning of the year. It's like the team was built with a starting rotation that was extremely questionable. And it was like, especially with all the question marks at the beginning, what happens when a guy goes down?
Mhm.
And McLean came up and he was outstanding and lived way up to the expectation, way past it. But when other guys went down in the middle of the year, Motas came in and he was disgraceful. And you bring all these different guys in who are just so like just not up to the standard, and it brings a lot of questions on how this team was built, what and what was I don't know. It was just a lot of complacency. They kind of played from June, they kind of played like a team that had already made the playoffs and they were just kind of coasting their way along, and it really bit them in the behind at the end. But yeah, that's my spiel. I'm, pretty heated about it, but it's kind of how it goes.
So basically, the rundown in the National League is that the Reds got the final playoff spot. The Mets are just out with a tied record and lost tiebreaker. The Diamondbacks are just out. The Giants are just below them. And that's it was one of the two most likely scenarios that we had forecasted a week ago.
Yeah.
Um, we'll get into the matchups just first in the American League. There were basically one team was going to get left out. That team is the Houston Astros. It'll be their first time not making the playoffs since 2016. And also, I think all but one of those years in that stretch, they went to the ALCS. So there will be a little bit of a difference in the American League playoffs. The Astros are not in it. For them, I mean, neither of us are Astros fans, so we're not going to really soapbox it like Ryan did with the Mets.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't be sorry, man.
You get that out.
They got hurt a lot. Alvarez missed time. Isaac Paredes missed time. Altuve, his durability is a question mark now. They got hurt, and they're not as complete of a team as they has been. And they got beat in the last week of the season when it really mattered. And I don't know. Their ace is a free agent. They got guys getting older. The Astros' future is more up in the air right now than it has been in 10 years. But they didn't make the playoffs, so we're not really here to talk about that.
Yeah, the Astros future is interesting because they have some really good young talent, that's mixed in with this crop of like veteran guys. And you kind of wonder how they're going to mix it up next year. And you kind of wonder how Framber is going to come back. He's never really lived it up in the big moments. It really hasn't felt like. And he almost seemed like one of those guys where just not really like a great locker room guy. I could be totally wrong here, but it just never felt like Framber was like this, integral piece to this team throughout. And he still had so much success, but he was just kind of moseying around and, just looking, you know, I don't know. But regardless, losing Framber is definitely a hit. Altuve again, aging. But you still got guys like Pena. They got another year out of Christian Walker. Once Jordan's back next year, he's one of the best hitters in the American League when he's there.
Hunter Brown,
Um,
Cy Young votes,
and then Hunter Brown will be, in the Cy Young race. He won't win it, but he'll be getting some votes up there for sure.
close.
So, the Astros are not out of it, and they're really never going to be
Hmm.
out of it, at least for the time being.
Yeah. Now, in terms of who's in, the first matchup getting played at 1:08 Eastern Time, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, is the Tigers and the Guardians. The Guardians clinched the AL Central by one game, a division lead that the Tigers had by about 100 games with 99 games to go.
Right,
Uh,
yeah.
this is 14 days ago. The Guardians were nowhere close to making the playoffs. Now they're hosting a wild card series and winning the division.
I mean, it's just an absolutely unprecedented comeback. They have a
Mhm.
-6 win differential on the year, or run differential on the year this year.
Hmm.
And they just figured out a way to scrap off all these wins. And it goes back to what I was talking about with the Mets earlier. They were one of those teams that just needed to get it going. They got
And
it
they
going at
did.
the right time. And you don't, wins don't have to be super pretty. They just got to be wins. You just got to score more than the other team.
Hmm.
That's all you need to do. And Cleveland found a way. Their pitching has really, really stepped it up. And, they're a force to be reckoned with, especially in a three-game set. You never know what you're going to see.
Yeah. They can also like play baseball too. They've got good bullpen. They're platoony. They just like they're not going to have the super heavy hitters or big names other than their best player, of course, Jose Ramirez, who was fantastic again to nobody's surprise.
Right. Yeah.
But they're going to have four different guys in the lineup if it's a righty or if it's a lefty, and they're going to use seven pitchers and they're going to beat you 3-1. Like
Pretty much.
I assume Gavin Williams will get the ball
Yeah.
as he's been their best pitcher. He will face Tarek Skubal is listed on MLB.com to get the ball for the Tigers, which obviously, if you're in a playoff series and you have the best pitcher in baseball going, you feel pretty good about that game.
Yeah. But you never know. I mean, he went when this matchup happened last year, he went in game 5 of the ALDS and um, you know, they kind of got to him. So, you never know.
Just last week they got to him.
Right, yeah.
That's the best part about baseball is that anyone can beat anyone on any given day.
Yep.
The Tigers, and the thing that the Cleveland has going for them is they're hot and they were hot enough to get the chance to play at home,
Yeah.
which Cleveland's not, it's not the biggest city in the world. It's not necessarily the prettiest stadium or anything like that, but the people there really love their baseball team
Yeah.
and they
They
will
bring
show
the
up for it
energy.
in October.
They bring the fire and
Hmm.
that stadium is going to be rocking.
The other thing about Detroit is past Skubal, anyone you're going to be giving the ball to is a little bit of a shaky choice.
Right.
I know Casey Mize has had a solid year. Jack Flaherty has had his share of playoff ups and downs for sure. So for this series alone, I worry, and I know they've got the sick bullpen, and AJ Hinch knows how to kind of mix and match, but I worry about being able to get off on the right foot on these games, especially on the road.
Totally. Yeah, I mean the Tigers have kind of prided themselves as that team as they're gonna hit you from all sorts of angles. They're gonna have guys from up here, guys from down here. They're gonna have lefty, righty, velo, slow.
They got some soft lefties there in
They
Detroit.
have Tommy Canley who it just throws all changeups. And
Let me get that.
that's just how it goes with when you're facing the Tigers. So, honestly, if I had to if I had to give like a box score for these next couple games, I'm not really expecting more than 4 runs scored in any game
Yeah,
total.
86% changeup.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get to see it.
Maybe.
Anyways, with the AL Central guys, the winner's going to play Seattle in Seattle.
Yeah, that's in
Also,
Seattle. Oof, that's a
also
tough.
scorching hot.
Yeah.
So on the eastern coast in the Bronx, New York, the Red Sox and the Yankees are going to meet for three. Game one is almost certainly going to be a matchup between two of the best lefties on the planet in
Gosh.
Garrett Crochet and Max Fried. Um, Carlos Rodon will pitch game two for the Yankees, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then the Yankees kind of have a choice because they have Luis Heel, who has strike throwing concerns, but really good stuff. And then they have a Walpole, Mass native Cam Schlittler, who's
Yeah.
had a okay month.
Yeah. I mean, if this series gets to game three, it certainly gets interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think for the Sox, if it gets there, it looks like it'll be Gio.
It depends who's going to be game two.
Well, Bayo would be game two, I would
Yeah,
have to assume.
there's been no announcement between Giolito and Bayo of who's two and who's three. So
Yeah.
I don't know when that call is going to come, but there are three games in this series. Those are going to be the three starters for the Red Sox for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, the first game is going to be pretty much how we expect it to be. I totally expect Garrett Crochet to go out there and do his thing, and then I totally expect Max Fried to go out there and do his
Mm-hmm.
thing. And it's going to be a matter of who can score 2 or 3 runs within the first seven, and then who can tack on one or two more within the last few innings.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same kind of goes for game two, but a little bit more offense could be seen there, and then game three is just going to be an all-out battle of, essentially who wants it more at that point. Um, and this series is going to be chippy, it's going to be
Yep.
energetic, and it's
Yep.
going to be a lot of fun. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm personally really excited, especially now that I get to take the spectator view here. I'm personally really excited to watch this one. But um, yeah, I mean,
Here's what I'll say about this series. I'll argue a pro Sox side and then I'll argue a pro Yankees side. The Red Sox bullpen is a little more comfortably good than the Yankees bullpen.
yeah,
The Yankees closer right now is David Bednar, who's been good, but he was a trade piece. They've only had him for 2 months. They're supposed to have been closers. Devin Williams and Luke Weaver have had their fair share of struggles.
Duvall hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows either.
No, their lefties are Tim Hill and Ryan Yarbrough, which I mean they're solid big league relievers, but they don't throw that hard. They don't really have amazing stuff. Like,
Yeah, they don't got like those middle pieces like Canely and Jake Cousins who kind of like
yeah.
pushed them through last year.
And then on the Red Sox side, Aroldis Chapman is absolutely terrifying.
He's so good. He's unbelievable this year.
So I don't know if he can pitch 3 games in a row if we need him to. Um, Garrett Whitlock has also had a tremendous year.
Yeah,
And
totally.
Alex Cora has a history of being able to use a bunch of guys, and everyone likes to rip on their managers for making bad bullpen decisions and stuff. But the Red Sox manager Alex Cora pulls the right string
Yeah.
more often than he pulls the wrong string.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of going through the guys in the pen, and it seems like everybody who has needed to step up this year has. Like, you even got guys
Yes,
like Greg Weissert. I don't even know if I'm
solid arm.
good, very
He got
good.
this. He got the save
Um,
today.
Bernardino can be solid. Wilson can be solid. Those guys, like, who, at the beginning of the year, I remember we had some critiques over the Red Sox bullpen, and it's like all those guys who we were super questionable about, and like, who even is going to step up in this bullpen. Everybody has, and that is almost
Yeah,
that's part of the reason why um they've put up such a fight this year.
yeah. My other point pro Red Sox is with the Yankees lefty starters, the Red Sox being able to use Rob Refsnyder and Romy Gonzalez, who are two of the best hitters solely against lefties in the major leagues, could really give us a significant platoon advantage. And then it allows Wilyer Abreu to come in fresh in a spot against maybe a righty reliever
Yeah,
that Alex Cora, I don't know exactly who he's going to start and where he's going to put everyone, but Alex Cora could get creative, things like that. And the fact that we're going to be facing two lefty starters and have two pretty serious lefty killers, that's something that I think, I'm not saying it's going to win the series or anything, but it's going to help the Red Sox be able to score runs.
absolutely.
And then on the Yankee side, Brian Bayo and Lucas Giolito, when they are not sharp, they warrant quite a bit of hard contact.
Yeah,
If you give hittable pitches, if you give a hittable pitch to Aaron Judge, it's over the fence. Cody Bellinger, it's over the fence. Paul Goldschmidt, it's in the gap. Jazz Chisholm, it's over the fence. Trent Grisham might be over the fence too.
yeah, especially in that Mickey Mouse little stadium they got there in the Bronx.
So, can the non-crochet Red Sox pitchers be sharp enough to get the Yankees hitters out? Because the Yankees hitters, even judge a little bit, they have holes. They have places you can go to get them out.
Yeah,
Some of them are, we've been using this term a little bit recently at Rhodes Baseball, one pitch, one swing guys, like
totally. Yeah,
Bellinger or Trent Grisham.
yeah.
But
The Yankees,
you've got to be able to execute.
the Yankees, and like honestly, I would throw Judge in this point too. Like they make their money off of hitting mistakes. Like
Mhm.
there was a tweet I saw the other day, and it's like Cal Raleigh has 14 or 15 home runs outside of the strike zone this year, and Aaron Judge has zero because he just doesn't, they don't swing outside of the zone. And when they do, it tends to be a
Their
swing and miss,
chases.
but they don't go ass out swings and try to poke balls all over the place. They're trying to put the balls in the gaps and over the wall. And that's how they make their money. You got guys like Jazz and Grisham and Bellinger who, are no average savants by
Mhm.
any means, but they will beat you with power. And that's how, I mean, they're called the Bronx Bombers for a reason. That's how they make this team. And, that's how they, you know, turn in all these wins.
That's how they're dangerous, though.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
can flip games. Even Ben Rice. Ben Rice is a solid little player, but like he
Well,
flipped the
yeah.
game on the head this afternoon with a home run in the eighth inning.
Yeah. And Stanton is still kicking, and loves to
Yep.
kick even more in October. So,
So good in the playoffs. The winner of that series will go face Toronto in the ALDS, the AL East division winner, and the American League One seed,
yep.
which will be an interesting conversation to be had because I feel like you can say this for the Red Sox and Yankees, but you can't for the Central teams against Seattle. Is whoever wins the AL East wild card has a serious shot against Toronto.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And in the National League, if you're ready to move, Ryan,
Totally. Yeah.
the Red Sox games are at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Red Sox Yankees at 3 p.m. Eastern time. The Padres and the Cubs are going to play three in Chicago. Nick Pivetta will get the ball. according to
Wow.
MLB.com, for game one for the Padres. I don't know who's getting the ball for the Cubs. I had to
I think
guess it would
Boyd.
be either Boyd or Shota. I just
I
pulled
don't
the
think
Cubs
they'll
up
put the
here.
ball in Boyd's hands.
I am worried about the Cubs pitchers.
Yeah, but I'm not all that confident in what the Padres are rolling out there in innings 1 through 6.
That's true. There could be some shaky starting pitching, but also if you kind of look around at the names like Jamison Tyone, Nick Pivetta, Yu Darvish, like these are the kind of older guys that have the chance to just steamroll a playoff game.
Yeah, yeah. In all fairness, though, a lot of these guys haven't really done it like that in the
It's true.
playoffs before. Um, Boyd's been
Michael
around
King
for a long
has.
time, but he spent a ton of time in Detroit when they were losing a ton of games. And
Mhm.
King's been there a couple times.
He's had
Uh,
his own share of problems this season.
Tyone, Tyone might have been there once. Pivetta, he's seen some time there, but you know, I don't think any of these guys outside of maybe Darvish are like full blown like playoff guys. They're gonna show up in October.
Yeah,
So yeah, I this is probably the series I'm least confident in who is gonna win
I agree.
because I could totally see the Padres coming out to Wrigley and just putting up a crooked number in both games and sending them home easily. Or I could see the exact opposite. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really know where to lean here.
I think the key for the Padres is going to be like, can one of the dudes get the big hit when they need it?
Yeah.
It just something about this lineup, even though there are so many good players in it, it feels like this won't be the week that they're stringing hits together. It's a little colder in Chicago. The Cubs faithful is there, but if they can get the big hit when they need it, that will help them a lot, especially in close games. And then the Cubs are just like a complete little ball club.
Yeah. I I think one thing with this Padres team is it just seems like time and time again these guys underperform. And Tatis got off
Mhm.
to that lightning start and then kind of just faded away and everybody kind of forgot about that. And Machado has been good but not great. And um, they've had some guys step up like Sheets and Bogarts has found his footing a little bit, but again, Jackson Merrill kind of fell off a little bit, and Cronenworth has been even worse. So, they they need, and this is now the third time I'm gonna say this on this podcast, but they need that spark. They need to
Yep.
go. They need the energy. Because when San Diego plays with energy, they are
Oh
very,
my
very,
God.
very hard to stop. Um, But when they play flat, they are, relatively easy to kind of get
Mhm.
past. So,
They're also, if you're not rooting for the team they're playing, they're also fun to watch in October when they're
absolutely.
playing hot. They've got a gorgeous stadium. They've got players that are very passionate about the game of baseball, like Tatis, and say what you want about Manny Machado, but he has big moments and he comes up and he gets excited about it.
Yeah, totally.
I think home field advantage is going to help the Cubs here. They've got a lot of guys that play winning baseball. I'm worried, especially with Kyle Tucker having a much chiller second half than his first half. Like, can
Yeah.
somebody carry the boats for the Cubs?
Yeah. And yeah, that's the perfect way to put it is like who's going to be that guy that steps up for both teams?
Mhm.
Crow Armstrong, while he was fantastic in the first half, kind of fizzled out. Tucker, same thing. Seiya Suzuki before this weekend hadn't hit a home run in like 20 games or something ridiculous like that. Like these guys, if they get going, they're going to be hard to stop. But if not, I'm not entirely sure, and that's why this series is so hard to predict. I think if I had to put my money on it right now, I would lean in the Cubs direction just because I trust their starting pitching a little bit more.
Hmm.
I think starting pitching is probably the most important thing when it comes to postseason baseball.
For sure.
Um, but this could really go anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if your starters don't give you a good effort, then you can be out of a game before it even starts, basically.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm kind of glad you said the Cubs because I want to lean Padres just based off their lineup star power. Um, and also they have a little more playoff experience, especially with the guys. I guess Cal Tucker's been there a while, but like this Cubs team hasn't done serious playoff time. There are some guys like Dansby and Kyle Tucker that have done it on other teams, but this unit is kind of making one of its first runs at this. And this the Padres core has been going coming back to the playoffs time and time again. And in my head, that's going to give them a little bit of a leg up if I have to pick between one of these two teams. But I think this is kind of the best matchup. I mean, Red Sox Yankees is pretty good too, but definitely out of the two National League matchups, this one is definitely more interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, and talking about the other National League matchup, this one could get really, really interesting.
Can you imagine like
Like, but there is a world where Hunter Green pitches 9 innings and strikes out 13 people, and
Mhm.
Andrew Abbott comes to the field the next day and shuts the door, and they get 3 good innings out of their bullpen, and all they need to do is score 4 runs in 2 games, and they're moving on to wherever. Uh, kind of forget who
where are
they're
they moving on to? They're moving on to Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Yeah. I mean,
Oh yeah, I forgot to say, Cubs Padres winner goes to Milwaukee. Continue.
yeah, but I mean, that world exists. Like, they've done it before. Hunter Green has been lights out recently, absolutely lights out.
Mhm.
And Andrew Abbott has put together another good season. He hasn't been as spectacular in the second half, but like put together a lot of really good outings down the stretch. And they've got guys like Singer, and in a 3 game set, you can honestly think about bringing in Nick Martinez. You could throw Lodolo out there if you don't want to throw Singer. They've got tons of looks in the rotation, and that's a big strength here.
They can get creative in game three if they get solid starts in game one and two, with terms of like if you don't have to use Nick Martinez in one of the first two games and you have kind of a choice between a couple starters that can start and come in for certain spots, especially when if you want to use Nick Lodolo in a spot where a couple important lefties are hitting, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Reds, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, Teoscar Hernandez, Blake Snell, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, Clayton Kershaw, and Shohei Ohtani again. If those guys lose to the 83 and 79 Reds, people are gonna.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, one thing that's interesting is they released that Kershaw's not on the playoff roster, which is really weird.
Is that
But
right?
I saw a
He's
post.
still on here on Fangraphs.
I could have gotten clickbaited maybe, but I saw a post somewhere about that. It was Dugout Report.
Honestly, no, yeah, Dave Roberts said you were right. That's not crazy.
Yeah, it's not the craziest thing in the world.
At this point, it's not super crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, but
the
still.
Dodgers are they got really good players. I know they didn't do as good as we all necessarily thought they were going to, but this is one of the moments where they need to take care of business like they should, or else some of the disappointing playoff talk that has plagued the Dodgers in the years that aren't 2020 and 2024 will definitely come back and it'll be warranted.
Yeah, I think another thing is like the we mentioned the strength of Cincinnati's starting pitching in these first two games, but they got to go up against Snell and Yamamoto, who have been arguably better than both guys we
Just as
mentioned.
just as good.
So it's, you know, as much as it is an advantage for Cincinnati, it may not phase the Dodgers much at all.
Also, going back to the playoff experience thing, this is another one where even more skewed, one team has a significant leg up in comparison to the other
Oh,
one,
yeah. Yeah.
which it's not. Now, that doesn't always affect how people play on the field, but it is something to think about in terms of a lot of these guys that are
Well,
that are leading the charge, like Snell and Glass now, who have been to the World Series. Were they both on that Rays team still in 2020?
I think both of them were, yeah.
And Snell's been in the playoffs on the Padres. Otani, I guess, just last year. Mookie's been to the playoffs every year. Freddie Freeman's been to the playoffs every year. Max Muncy's gonna have big swings at some point every October. Teoscar Hernandez was one of the bright
He
spots of
led the
all
charge for them
playoffs
last year.
last year. So they have a bunch of ways to get it done, and they move on as long as they don't completely fall flat.
Right. Yeah. I think something would have to go extremely wrong for them to lose this series. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think if I'm gonna predict um all four right now,
yeah,
I'd
we
go.
got time.
Think I'd go. Oof, I'm gonna hold off on the Tigers Guardians. Um, with a little bit of bias here, but honestly, for the favor of starting pitching, I like the Red Sox. Um, I like the Dodgers and I like the Cubs. If I had, and then I think if I had to make a split second decision right now, I'm going Guardians strictly off of momentum and home field advantage. But I could really see the Tigers going in there and getting it done.
I'm gonna go Guardians too. I think off momentum. I don't want to bet against the hot hand. Um, Obviously, I'm picking the Red Sox. I think this is a complete toss-up. Two teams that have been neck and neck basically the whole year. The Yankees finished with the better record by a few games. The Red Sox finished with a better head-to-head record against the Yankees. Um, I'm going to take the Padres and I'm going to take the Dodgers. I just pulled up the Reds lineup, just looking back to them really quick. This doesn't even look like an 83 win lineup.
Yeah, the lineup sneaks up on you a little bit, I will say.
It does.
With Andujar being better than everybody expected him to be, and Hayes is really scrappy. Noel V. Marte has proven to be a solid young piece, but I mean, yeah, and De La Cruz, of course, but yeah, it's not fearful by any means. Oh, what up? What up, eh? No, you're good.
Is that Trish?
No, that was Shine.
Oh, Shine's here?
Yeah. Um,
They're
but yeah,
knocking on my they're knocking on my door.
yeah, they're probably about to come in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Curry. What's up, Curry? We're recording the podcast. Oh wow, we have visitors.
Oh wow.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the freshmen of the Rhodes baseball team are interrupting the Fallbar baseball show. And it's all Cooper Kerger's fault.
Of course it is.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the we got 5 minutes. What do you guys think about the wild card matchups?
It's kind of tough to hear it through the headphones, so you might have to relay here.
Yeah, no, yeah. They're not really saying anything.
Okay.
They're asking me to tell them what's going on. We'll have to train them a little bit.
But yeah, I mean, Dodgers should have it easy. Lineup's not all that
Yeah.
tight here.
Yeah. I mean,
I
I'm
will
just
say
not
though,
not scared of the Reds.
with how this regular season went, I think there's a lot of room for second round upsets in that divisional series, which
Yeah.
we'll probably get into more the next time we're recording
Hmm.
this.
All
Um,
next time we record, all the wild cards will be over.
Right. So there's a lot of room for upset with, I think, the Red Sox and Yankees going into Toronto. I think if
For
the
sure.
Dodgers take over the Reds, they could very easily go into Citizens Bank and spoil Red October yet again.
Doesn't even
Um,
feel like it would be an upset.
right,
It's
exactly.
just the Dodgers and the Phillies going at it again.
Right. And then the Padres and Cubs, the Cubs always kind of make it at least even with the Brewers if they don't win. And the Padres are, of course, we mentioned it earlier, a tough team to get by. So it's these 1, 2 seeds, they could fall pretty quickly here if they don't
Hmm.
match what they did in the regular season.
Playoffs is a different beast. You got to come ready to play on the day that you're playing.
Absolutely.
It is going to be an exciting week. Um, we have busy lives here a little bit, but I know that we're both going to try and watch absolutely as much as we can in terms of these 4 games.
Yeah, totally.
We're gonna watch the close games, especially watch the Red Sox games, especially.
Yeah, gotta.
Um, you gotta, unfortunately, probably gonna watch the Reds games too.
Yep. Yep, we'll definitely be hearing them.
Yeah, we'll be hearing the Reds games, whether we want to or not.
Yep.
But yeah, that's kind of teed up wild card series. Got 4 3 game sets, and when you move on, you lose. We'll see you in Cancun.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
do you have any final thoughts here, Ryan?
I No, I think I got everything out.
Yeah, we got to predict. We'll come back after they're over, and we'll hand up accountability, our predictions,
Totally.
see if the Reds worked any magic or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the that's the preview of the wild card series. They're Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week, all on ESPN or ABC. And yeah, we will see you next week for the AL and NLDS.
Sure will. Ooh boy,
All
that'll be
right.
fun.
Yep.
Alrighty.
All right. Peace.